everyone, and welcome to the Week 9 live session. So we are just about at the end. I know it seems like we have all this time left, but trust me, it is going to go by fast. So we're going to talk about some dates. We already talked about it in the study hall. But we're going to talk about it again because we can't state this enough how important it is. The end of the term and the deadlines and everything like that. We're going to get into the recipes for grilling. There's really not a ton to the grilling recipes. We're going to talk about the recipes specifically for the hollandaise. It's all about the technique. We're going to talk about what types of apparatuses you can use for grilling, but we do need to be able to have access to a grill in some form. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. We already did in study hall. We're going to talk about it again just because it's grilling week. The answer is yes, you absolutely must have a grill, get to a grill, whatever the case may be. We need to grill this week for our grilling. We have a protein and we have a vegetable that we're going to grill. I'm going to give you multiple choices for both. I'm going to give you a couple options that you could use for grilling if you don't want to do chicken. I'm going to give you a couple of options that we're going to use for grilling for our vegetable, and then hollandaise is just pretty straightforward, okay? But first and foremost, we're going to go ahead and talk about the end of the term. So I have my phone up here. All right, I'm just going to kind of pull up the calendar here. So today is what? It is April 24th, draft day. If you're an NFL fan, I'll be going to that later tonight. All right, but it is the start of week 9. Okay, on May 1st will be week 10, May 8th, week 11, May 15th is the start of week 12. And everyone write this down, put it in your calendar, whatever you got to do. The assignment for week 12 is due no later than Sunday, May 18th, 11:59 p.m. Central. You cannot submit week 12 on a Monday, on a Tuesday, or anything like that. There is no Wednesday, Thursday late submission period. You only have three days, 3.5 days, give or take. Now, I'll give you a heads up. It is deep frying. You're going to be deep frying chicken legs, and you're going to be making a batter and then doing a deep fried battered onion ring. So it doesn't take a long time. We're not braising. We're not making stock. We're not doing anything like that takes 4, 5, 6 hours. Deep frying should honestly, with prep time and frying time, photos and all that, maybe an hour, maybe 90 minutes. If you take your time, don't rush it. That's completely fine. It shouldn't take you long. So you could do it Thursday night after we do our live session. You could do it Friday. You could do it Saturday. You could even do it Sunday. But I'm telling you this right now. If you are waiting until Sunday night and all of a sudden the submission button is not there, that means you're too late. You missed the deadline. And no, Chef Angela, Chef myself, cannot open up week 12 after that deadline has gone. So Monday morning, oh, Chef, oh my gosh, I forgot. I didn't realize. Can you open it up for me real quick? The answer is no. Okay. So we literally cannot. We cannot go to our bosses and say, hey, so sorry, Chef Angela forgot to turn in. Can you just open it up real quick? My boss is going to say, nope, sorry, we can't do that. Right. Because the class, the whole school officially closes the classes, and then we have to put in final grades, and then we have to get all that put in, and then we move on to the next chapter. Okay. So very important, everyone, that you do that. Now, we've talked about this for the last few weeks. I'm going to say it again this week and next week specifically. All right, what did I say? We have that 9, 10, 11. Okay, so week 11 starts May 8th. The assignment is due no later than Tuesday, May 13th. If for any reason at all you have missed week 7, you've missed week 8 and you're not turning it in tonight or whatever, you miss week 9, you miss week 10, one of those, two of those, whatever. There's a crazy emergency, and it better be a crazy emergency, okay? Not just, oops, I forgot. All right, I will allow anyone until Tuesday, May 13th to make up any work that you missed from week 7 through 10. Not week 1, not week 2, not week 4, 5, 6. Those are in the books already. Those are already behind us. I'm not opening up that work anymore. It must be between week 7 and 10. Does that make sense, everyone? Hopefully, no one in here is missing, multiple or any work at all, which is completely great. I love that. But again, if anything came up, a health issue, anything like that, any family issues, I understand. Reach out to me. We will get together and make that happen. Now, with that being said, discussion forums, quizzes, those will remain open all the way through Sunday, the 18th. Okay. Those do not need to be opened by me. They don't close by me, right? So if you're saying, oh, Chef, I missed the week 2, week 5, week 8 discussion, they're already open. You can go back in, do them. You can update them. If you got a low grade on those, if you got like a 4 or 5, I'd go back, update it, try and get 10 out of 10. That's going to be super helpful towards your grade. Your quizzes, you could take up to 3 attempts, and then it will keep the highest grade. All right. And you will have a quiz this week and as well as week 11. So you still have a few more quizzes to go. And then we already have done, I think, 3 previous quizzes, right? I believe maybe it's like 1, 3, 6, something like that. Don't quote me on it, but we've already done a few. So those will remain open all the way till Sunday. Any questions about the end of the class, makeup work, discussion forums, quizzes? Any questions at all? We're all going to have our week 12 assignment turned in Sunday. Not this
Chef.
Sunday, but yeah. Who's that? Ralph?
Yes, yes, chef.
Yes.
Um, could you repeat the due date for the makeup again, May 13th? Did I hear that correctly?
Yes. May 13th, which is a Tuesday.
Okay, so week
Yep.
7, 8 through 10, we have time until May 18th for makeup.
May 13th.
May 13th, sorry.
Yep.
Yes.
And then for week 11, that's also due that day because that's that week that we're in. For any crazy reason, if we're late on that, it still will be open Wednesday and Thursday night. But again, I'm just asking everyone, stay current. Friday, if you missed the late deadline for week 11, I will not be opening up week 11 either. Okay, so week 11, get done in week 11. I'm not opening it up on Friday, the day after week 12 for week 11 either. Oh, I missed last night, Chef. Oh my God. You didn't miss last night. You missed 2 days ago, really, because the assignment's due Tuesday. Okay. I'm not talking to you personally, Rob. I'm just saying, right, for everyone. Okay. Week 11, got to be current. We should start practicing that right now. Stay current for the next few weeks. And then moving forward in school, I want everyone here to be the best of the best. All right, Jermaine, go ahead.
Yes, yes, chef. Now I let you say the 18th. So are we taking another break or do we go into our second step in
No,
this?
great question. So you will, okay, so technically, Jermaine and everyone, okay, so on the 19th of May, you have nothing to do. You will not, because everything will have already been done. You've already done your week 12, right? So the 19th, you're just basically waiting for Chef Angela and myself to finish grading, and we're going to post it. We're going to post final grades and update the class page by usually it's like 12 p.m., 1 p.m. Central Time. So it's kind of like mid to late afternoon. You'll see your final grade in the class, and there's no updating that. There's nothing for you to do. I'll send out a message, usually early, like, hey, everyone, I'm grading this morning. Hold tight. I'm going to post final grades. And then I message you later. Final
Okay.
grades are posted. Great job, everyone. Best of luck to you. Now, the 20th and the 21st, a Tuesday, Wednesday, there really won't be anything for you to do as well. Your class technically opens on the 21st, which is a Wednesday, but you most likely will not have your live sessions until Thursday, same as you are
Okay.
here. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
honestly, for 3 days, you really don't have much to do. Okay. But yeah, you will start your next term immediately. You'll go for 6 weeks and then we're going to have our summer break. And your new
Okay.
instructors will talk more about that when you get there. But yeah, you get to chill, relax. Generally, a day or two, maybe the 20th, the 21st, you will have access to your new class. So you can click on there, same as I tell everyone when we start week 1 here. Start clicking around, look at the recipe, look at the ingredients, look at all the videos, things like that. Have fun, play around. Your new instructor will reach out to you at some point, either Wednesday and Thursday, and say, hey, welcome to your next term. I'm Chef so and so. These are when our classes are. I'll tell you right now because I get this every term. I don't know when it will open. So if you text me, Chef Nick, when's my new class? Who's my new instructor? What's blah blah, right? I don't know. Okay.
Okay.
It's not to be mean. I tell everyone, I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know. It is what it is when it is, right? Your new instructor will reach out at some point. Okay. Not that I don't love hearing from y'all, but I'll be like, I'll send this emoji. I don't know. I will say this, right? So since we're talking about it, Jermaine, all right, your next class, as far as I know, will be CU122. It is culinary and patisserie and baking. Okay. I want everyone to make me this promise right now. Okay. And you could unmute yourselves in a minute and say I promise. All right. You will be doing some dessert. You'll be making doughs. You'll be doing some garde manger, so like salads and things like that. But I taught CU 122 for about 18 months, and I got a lot of students who are like, Chef, I didn't come to this program to be a baker, to be a pastry chef, to learn how to make creme brulee, to make pancakes, to make bread pudding, to make cookies, right? Promise me this, everyone, okay? When you're a chef, I'm not a pastry chef. I'll tell you that right now. I never have been, but I can make probably 10 to 15 desserts very well, like pastry chef level and plating and everything like that. I worked in Michelin star restaurants. I helped with baking. I helped with pastries. I was the lead of a lot of different places where I had to, help out with baking. I can make ice cream from scratch, breads, things like that. The more tools you have in your tool chest, so to speak, the better chef you will be. I promise you that. You are going to set yourself apart from every other cook in the kitchen. And when you own your own business, anyone here want to open maybe a food truck? Can I see virtual hands? Joshua, right away,
Absolutely.
right? Anybody here, right? They want to do that? You have your menu. Maybe you want to throw up, brownies, cookies, a quick, simple dessert like an empanada, which you make in week 1 of CU 122, unless they change it, right? A quick little apple pie empanada, something like that. You now can sell that for $5, $6 on a food truck, right? And you made it from scratch. That probably cost you $1. So just yours adding to your total bill, right? To your ticket. So trust me, when I say the more tools you have, the better. You should learn pastry. You don't need to be a pastry chef, professional bread maker, anything like that. But making your own pizza dough from scratch, you will do. Making your own, a couple different shortbreads and quick breads and things like that. Okay. I promise you, it's going to make you a better cook. So, will everyone please unmute themselves and say, I promise? I want to hear everyone in this class.
I
I
promise.
I
promise.
I
promise.
promise.
I
I
promise.
promise. I promise.
I
Awesome.
promise.
I
Thank you,
promise. I
everyone.
made tea
Thank
cakes
you.
today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And your new instructors, well, thank you as well. But I would get excited about it, right? Especially if it's a new technique, it's different. You're like, oh my gosh, I've never made creme brulee because I believe that is one of the desserts, right? Get excited about it. Get excited about learning a new technique and something different because creme brulee is my favorite dessert in the whole wide world. We talked about French onion soup with Chef Angela, right? Probably my favorite dish. French creme brulee, my favorite dessert ever in the whole wide world, right? And I make a darn good creme brulee myself because I had to learn and I want to know how to make it as well. But anytime I go out, if I see creme brulee, I'm like, yep, I'm gonna do that, right? So just keep that in mind. So that's how the next couple of weeks will kind of map out. Let's go ahead and get into week 9, hollandaise grilling. All right, so hollandaise, mother sauce. Chef Andrew did a great job talking about mother sauces earlier, so I'm not going to go back over that, but hollandaise is one of them. All right. It is an emulsification between egg yolks as I always want to say as our fat, but then we're clarifying butter, and then that's also going to be fat. Okay. So it's just it's going to be that emulsification of our egg yolks. Yes, we're using lemon juice as well. And then our primary source of the emulsification is going to be clarified butter. Okay. This is the easiest way to explain clarified butter because I don't believe it had it in that video, right? Am I correct, Chef? I don't think it had, right? So you're going to take a pound of butter, everyone. Go to the store, buy a pound of unsalted butter. You're going to unwrap all 4 of your sticks. You're going to get yourself a pot. Put the sticks in the pot. You're going to turn the heat up to about medium low just so that the butter starts to bubble, and then turn it down low, but keep it bubbling, right? So it's almost like you're simmering your butter. Does that make sense? We're simmering the butter, okay? So we want little bubbles pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. Imagine poaching, right? We have little bubbles. We want that with our butter. What that's going to do is you're melting the butter, but now we're pushing up all the milk solids to the top. It's going to look like white foam. Who remembers making stock a few weeks ago? By show of hands, who remembers that? Does anyone remember what we did to the scum that went to the surface? What did we do? Who could tell me?
Skimmed it off.
Skim.
We skimmed it off. So I want everyone to imagine that the white foam coming to the top, those are the milk solids of butter, right? Butter is water, milk solids, fat, right? I'm not going to go into the science of it, but it's just, it's not just, melt butter and it's going to be like this perfectly smooth thing. It starts to like look clear and then bubbly, right? So when we're simmering it, you're pushing all of the milk solids to the top. It looks like white foam. Imagine that scum from your stock. You're going to take a spoon. You're going to skim all of that off. Okay. Try not to take the clarified butter with it, because as you're pushing up the milk solids, as you're skimming off, what's left is pure fat, pure liquid gold. That is your clarified butter. Once you have skimmed off most, it doesn't need to be like super perfect, but you just want like barely any little white specks left. Pass it through a fine mesh strainer and then discard anything that comes through the strainer. You can even use cheesecloth, and then whatever you have remaining, that will be the clarified butter that you use. Okay. I believe the recipe calls for 10 ounces. If you have more than that, that's okay. You may not use it all, but after you skim and everything like that, you're probably not going to have 16 ounces. 16 ounces is a pound. Okay. So you're probably going to be left with like 12, 13, give or take. And I believe the recipe calls for 10. All right. So whole butter, block of unsalted butter, the 4 sticks that come in a pound of butter, those go into a pot, bring it up to a boil, down to a simmer. As you start seeing white, thick foam coming to the top, you're going to skim, skim, skim. When you no longer see that, strain, fine mesh strainer or a strainer with cheesecloth. Keep the remaining clarified butter. That's your clarified butter. Does that make sense, everyone? Any questions about that? It's pretty straightforward. There's not a video of it. I apologize, but that's how you clarify butter. All right. If there's a little bit of like residue on the bottom, don't even worry about it. I don't want you to waste 45 minutes trying to like, get only just the clear, right? It's going to be 99% clarified butter. And then if there's like a little bit of like film or residue or anything on the bottom, that's okay. Cause like I said, you might not even get there with the recipe. Okay. So let me go ahead and talk about the recipe first and foremost for the hollandaise, because I just talked about the clarified butter. All right. So we're going to go here. And I always have that there. Okay, let's go ahead and go over to, what are we, week 9? My goodness, I'm telling you, these last 2.5 weeks, 3.5 weeks together, everyone, is going to go by fast. All right, hollandaise. We watched the video earlier. We talked about clarifying butter. So what you're going to, it says 10 ounces. I was correct. 10 ounces of clarified butter. All right, start with the pound. And then if you have any extra, you can save it. You could actually just put it in your refrigerator. It will harden on you. And then when you go to use it, if you want to saute it, you can take a spoon and scoop it out. It'll look like Crisco. And then it goes into the pan and then it'll clarify. It'll be nice and loose for you, right? So that's completely fine. During the process of the hollandaise, you do want to keep it warm. So once you've skimmed off and everything like that, keep it warm. You don't want to have it boiling or simmering anymore. Just like warm, okay? Just so it stays nice and liquidy for you, all right? Otherwise, it can solidify. You could actually buy clarified butter already clarified, and it comes in a tub, and it looks like a giant tub of Crisco. So that's like in corporate dining, if they want to use that, they get a giant tub, and it saves them usually time and a kind of money, but not really because it's expensive. But you all are going to be clarifying your own butter because I want you to learn that technique. All right, you'll need 3 egg yolks, a tablespoon of water, a quarter, or what does it say, 1/2 to 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice, because you might not need it all. All right, a touch of cayenne pepper if you would like for a little spice. That is very traditional in hollandaise. It is not really meant to give it to make it spicy. It's just to kind of give a little bit of flavor, and then little speckles of like reddish orange in it. Pinch of salt to taste, and then as needed, warm water. You can use the water that's going to be in your double boiler. Okay, so you're going to need a double boiler. It looks like this: some sort of pot, add water about halfway, bring that up to a boil, down to a simmer. You could use a metal bowl or you could use a glass bowl. It must fit snugly into the pot, or over the pot, I should say. You do not want the bottom to touch the water. Does that make sense, everyone? So you want a larger bowl than you do have opening for your pot. Does that make sense? Right? So you want to like fit on top. If the water is here, I don't want the bottom of my bowl down here. It should be like right here. Okay. We want the residual heat, the steam from the water to warm our bowl. All right. Is everyone with me so far? Virtual thumbs up. Cool. Josh has got the regular thumbs up. Love that. All right. So up to a boil, down to a simmer. Thank you, Elizabeth. All right. What we want to do before we add our bowl on top of our heat, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stop sharing because I like to act it out. I don't have any items with me today. I apologize. Okay. But 3 egg yolks. So they need to be separated. You could absolutely save the egg whites, make yourself an egg white omelet, do whatever you want with them. But we're gonna move those away from the egg yolks. Okay. So separate your egg whites. You can pass it through your hand. There's egg separators. I want 3 yolks. Okay. Add your table or your teaspoon, your little touch of the water and your lemon juice. And then I like to do my little touch of cayenne early too. That's not the end of the world. But at that point, I'm going to get my bowl and I'm going to start whisking. Okay, you absolutely need to whisk this week. You need a whisk and nothing else. A whisk, 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 nothing else. Not a fork, not a spoon, not a spatula. You need a whisk. All right. Who could tell me what we need to blend our egg yolks this week?
Whisk.
A whisk. All right. Great job, everyone. So, okay. Yeah. And I would stay away from a rubber whisk. They do have them. Those are great for like non-stick pans. I just get yourself a regular old good old-fashioned metal whisk. All right. So we are going to whisk vigorously those egg yolks. I told you all in the study hall, I'm going to give you a foolproof plan. And honestly, if you watch the video for Hollandaise, Chef Stephanie does a great job showing you what you need before you start adding in your clarified butter. All right. So we have all those ingredients in there, right? We have our egg yolks, we have a little bit of water, a little bit of lemon juice, cayenne pepper. We're whisking, whisking, whisking. All right. Now, what we can do is we've whisked that off of the heat for maybe 30 seconds. We're just kind of airing it up a little bit. Go on to your pot. Whisk on the pot, maybe 20 to 30 seconds, because as you have it on the heat, you're going to start to warm your bowl a little bit. The warmth will help to start thicken up your egg yolks, but we don't want it too hot to where it turns our eggs into scrambled eggs. Does that make sense, everyone? You start to see little particles forming a ring on the side of your bowl. That means your heat is too hot, or your bowl has now become too hot, and now you're never going to have that smooth, creamy hollandaise. So about 30 seconds on that heat, the bowl's going to warm up slightly. We come back off the heat. We go back onto our countertop. All right, you can have a towel that's kind of molded into a ring. You could put a towel flat. I would dampen it, right? Put it under the faucet, wring it out, put it on your surface area. I was going to say cutting board, right? Don't do that, but just put it down on your surface area. You have your pot to the right, your double boiler. You have your towel over here, right? I don't have anything, but this is where you have it, right? So you're just kind of going back and forth, left and right. Does that make sense? So 30 seconds, I'm whisking vigorously off of the heat, onto the heat, whisking 30 seconds, off the heat, whisking 30 seconds, off the heat. It'll start to cool down slightly. I go back onto the heat, whisking 30 seconds. I call this the dance. It's the hollandaise dance. If you remember the Beurre Blanc dance that we did back, 4 weeks ago, when we were whisking on and off the heat, adding the butter, right? Same principle. I don't want this bowl to get so hot that it just starts to cook my eggs. I don't want it to get cold to where it's not doing anything. It's not cooking them. It's not helping them thicken. So you're going back and forth. Don't stay in one spot for too long. Do not add one single drop of, of your clarified butter until your egg yolks look like hollandaise. So that's the key here, everyone, because you're going to hear ribbon stage. And I'm going to show you a photo. It's like, okay, whisk it your yolks until ribbon stage. That means that our egg yolks have thickened, they have grown in volume, and they're light in color, right? So they're almost like fluffy, right? If I whisk and I pull the whisk there, you should see the lines in your pile of your egg yolks, and you'll see the lines, and then it comes back. So everyone remember the nappe consistency. It will be like where you run your finger and then it just slowly comes back together. That's what that ribbon stage means. So your egg yolks, before you've added any amount of fat, should already resemble hollandaise. Okay. If you do that, and then you slowly start to drizzle in, and I'm talking in the beginning, drop by drop. So Chef Stephanie starts to pour hers. If you have a ladle, a small ladle, not a big one at home, something small that you could dip into your hollandaise, what I like to do is I dip in with my left, I'm whisking with my right, and I will let my body just kind of shake and start to splash little bits of clarified butter into the bowl as I whisk. That's how I start. So it's like a couple little drops, whisk, whisk, whisk. You want all the fat to incorporate into your yolks before you add your next couple of droplets. So I'm talking 2, 3, 4 drops at a time, whisking vigorously. It's incorporated. Now I could go with another 3 or 4 drops, whisking, 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 another 3 or 4 drops, whisking, whisking, whisking. As long as that is staying thick, then I can start to drizzle slowly a little bit more clarified butter, a little bit more clarified butter. If you get to the ribbon stage or less than that, and you start pouring in spoonfuls and you're trying to whisk it, it's going to be a greasy mess. It's not going to emulsify. It could break on you. You don't want to do that. Too much, too fast is not what we're doing. Slow and steady is what we're doing. Make sense, everyone? So we're just drizzling, 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 and you don't really need to be on the heat at this point. So you're going on and off the heat until you're at that ribbon stage. Go on to the side of your counter, start drizzling in, drop by drop by drop of your clarified butter. Honestly, your 3 egg yolks should be able to take your 10 ounces of clarified butter, but it has to be slow and steady. All right. When you're done, you want your sauce to be thick and creamy and smooth, but you should be able to kind of drizzle it back and forth. All right. It should kind of go back and forth, almost like caramel, right? But a little bit thinner, right? Not more creamier, but like it should kind of hold up on itself and then kind of relax on itself, almost like risotto, maybe like the risotto, right? So if I put a whole bunch of hollandaise onto a plate, it'll make a pile, it'll come up, and then it'll just kind of relax as well. All right, smooth, creamy, velvety. That's what we want. Okay, so what does this all mean? What does it all look like? So that's our double boiler. This is what you want your egg yolks to look like before you've added 1 drop of clarified butter. Okay, this is a lot of volume here, but this is what your egg yolks should look like. If they don't look like this, and if you take it like, you see how I'm telling you, it can kind of hold up on itself. This is obviously, taken a little bit further, I believe, but that's what our egg yolks should look like before you've added any clarified butter. Once you get to adding your clarified butter, this is what your hollandaise should look like. Thick, yellow, creamy, right? So like, you know what I'm saying? It holds up on itself, but then it's just going to like glide down. I know everyone here has either had or heard of eggs Benedict. We've done poaching. So those are those eggs poached. Hollandaise, right? And you see those little specks of red in there. That's the cayenne pepper. All right. Now, at the very end, like I said, after you've added your 10 ounces, if it's super, super thick, That's where that warm water is needed, comes into play. What I'll do is I'll turn off the heat of my pot, move my bowl, and then I might take a spoonful of that water into my bowl and then whisk it around. You want everything to remain warm, okay? So I might take one spoonful just to kind of thin it out. But again, we're not turning it into water. We just want to make sure it's not pudding. Okay, pudding is like where we take a spoonful and we go like that and it splatters, right? And it doesn't, I can't take pudding and drizzle it around. Hollandaise is a sauce. You should be able to kind of, if you took a ladle, you could scoop it over your eggs Benedict. You could drizzle it around on the plate. If it's too thick and it turns to pudding, one scoop of warm water, then just whisk gently at that point. If it's still too thick, another spoonful of warm water, whisk, 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 and then test it again with the spoon. Once you get to where you could drizzle it, you're good to go. Keep it in a warm spot, not a hot spot. Okay, let me repeat that. Keep it in a warm spot, not a hot spot, and don't keep it out at room temperature. Okay, so in a brunch setting, which I've done many a brunch service, we have what's called a bain marie. Okay, I have my trusty Escoffier coffee mug here. I'm going to turn off my background so you call. I don't have any. Let me see here. Okay, so imagine I had a giant container, a metal container, a 600 pan is what we call them, right? Filled halfway with water. I put it on the stove. I turn the heat up underneath it until the water starts to simmer in there. If this was a container that was empty, this has my coffee in it, right? It's my trusty Escoffier coffee. I'm gonna put my hollandaise in here, and then I'm gonna put this into that hot water. That's gonna keep this container nice and warm without keeping it too hot, right? If I put this directly underneath heat, it's going to completely break my sauce. It's going to turn to scrambly, broken, gross, just not good hollandaise. So you could do something like that if you have a big pot that you want to put water in. Make sure it's nice and hot, but not boiling, and then you could put another container in there. Or you could just kind of put this, fill it with hollandaise, put it off to the side in a warm area, and you'll be fine. Okay. But you don't want it to get too hot. You don't want it to get too cold. If it gets too cold, it'll just seize and thicken on you. And then, it might take a minute for it to come back if it comes back at all. If you try and rewarm it and then it breaks on you, you're going to have to start over. Okay. So that's why I say keep it warm. If it's too cold, it'll turn thick, pasty. Can't get it back. If it's too hot, it'll separate on you. All right. Does that make sense? Any questions about the hollandaise? Chef, anything you want to add about the hollandaise?
I think you nailed it. Each step is incredibly important to, from the eggs, beating the eggs until they're the correct consistency, drizzling in that butter very, very slowly. If you do get a consistency that's a little bit like mayonnaise or pudding, as Chef said,
That
definitely,
is good too.
add drops of water first, not, quarter cup or anything like that, because it's going to be done after that. Drops. You can always add, you can't take away. Same with the butter, same with the seasoning, same with everything. So, with this amount of butter and eggs are a little bit costly right now, of course, you might have to start over again. Unfortunately, this is something that, like we were talking about, sometimes it may break the first time and you may have to do it again. Don't be discouraged. Just start over. Hopefully it happens before you use too much butter, but don't be discouraged. Just use those technique videos as well. I found a technique video also for clarified butter. Don't forget those technique videos, as well as the videos in your interactive recipe book. Use those and do it with the chefs. Make the hollandaise with Chef Stephanie, and just be prepared in the very beginning And remember, each step is just really important to get right.
Awesome. All right, so everyone, I know you could do it. I have all the faith in the world in everyone. Like I said, if you take those egg yolks to ribbon stage, nice and thick and fluffy, increase volume, ribbony, right? Nice and thick. Then start your slow drizzle of your clarified butter. That's where you're going to see success. If you start too soon, if you've whisked your egg yolks, maybe we've only been on the heat a little bit or not that much, and they're still loose and they just look like you just scramble up some eggs in a bowl and you start to add your clarified butter. That's when you will run into problems. If you go too high with the heat, if you're on there too much, that's when you're going to run into problems. So take your time, go slow. My biggest pet peeve is we get to the end of the term, everyone, and this is specifically for photo requirements, but this goes with the technique. Oh, chef, I was going so fast and I forgot this photo and I wasn't paying attention. I was rushing. I was this, that, and the other thing, right? No. Take the time, take your photos, go through the motions, get everything that you need to do. Because yes, you need to be fast in a kitchen, but when you start missing steps and missing things and oh, I didn't get this photo, I didn't get this step, that's where we run into issues. And I'm gonna say, hey, what's going on here? Why did we only send 7 photos and I needed 9? Oh, sorry, chef, I was rushing. Nope, not good enough, right? We need to take the time, go slow. As we get to the end of the term, even though it's your first term, I want everyone to really start thinking like a chef, not an intro to culinary 101 student, right? That was week 1, 2, 3. Now we're growing, we're progressing. All right. So take your time, go slow, nice, velvety, smooth, creamy hollandaise is what we want. All right, let's start talking about grilling. So, grilling this week, you may use a propane grill that you might have, like one would might have on the outside of their house in their patio or in their backyard, that you just kind of turn the knob for the propane tank. It's got the tube that connects, and then you turn on your buttons and you hit the little clicking, right? Tick, tick, tick. Sometimes you need a lighter to get down there and light it up and light up your grill. That's option number one. Always a great item to have, especially summertime. Love me a grill. Propane, does it alter the flavor a little bit? Sure. But if you got it, utilize it. Okay. Charcoal grill. Chef Angela did an amazing job of showing everyone the charcoal grill, how to start your charcoal, what it should look like in the study hall. So go back and watch that if you need to. That is your second option, your charcoal grill, right? Those are like the red ones, like the Weber ones that you might see, right? They're kind of like waist high. It's like a red saucer. You put the charcoal, like, you light it and do the whole chimney and all that. It goes there. You put the grate over the top. You let the charcoal get nice and gray and then nice and hot and embery, right? And then you start grilling. That's option number 2. Option number 3 is a grill pan that you can purchase online. Chef showed Amazon, and what was the other one, Chef? Like almost like Walmart.com or whatever the case may have been.
Yeah, Walmart.
Yeah, so multiple options to purchase one online. Do it now, do it today, do it tomorrow. I don't care when you do it, but it must be readily available for you before Tuesday. Okay. $20 is what I saw one. That goes on your stove top. You turn on your heat, the pan gets hot, it's got the lines, it's got the grooves in it, and then you start grilling there. If you can't order one online, if you don't have Amazon, which hopefully by now everyone does, you can then you could go to a Walmart, you could go to a Target, a place like that. It might be a little bit pricier than online. I don't know how much more pricier, but the ones online that we saw looked to be about $20. So I told you in week 1, you will be required to purchase some ingredients every now and then, or in some equipment. This is that week. I don't expect everyone to go out and buy $100 grill, a $100 Weber, a $200 state of the art thing. If at the very least, $20 for a grill pan. Okay. Those are absolute musts. Fourth options, if you live or know anyone who lives in an apartment complex, a friend, a family member who you could say, hey, can I come over and use your communal grill? Most of them have. I lived in, I think, two, maybe even three different apartments coming out of high school when I was in culinary school and early on in my career. Every single one of those complexes had a grill. So, communal property, apartment grill, or your local park. Most parks have an area where you could go grill. Again, you would use the charcoal situation to go underneath, and then you could start your grill. Just make sure you clean it really, really well before you use it. All right. Those are your options. There is no, and I mean this, everyone, Tuesday night, chef, I don't have a grill. Chef, I couldn't get a grill. Chef, I don't know where to grill. I'm gonna I'm gonna send you this emoji. I'm gonna find this emoji. I'm gonna send it to you. Right? Everyone see that emoji on your phone that does this? I'm gonna send that to you. I'll see if there's a chef one. All right. If you use a saute pan, if you use anything other than a grill, I'm going to send this assignment back to you with a 0. I have done it before. I don't like to do it. I'm very sad when I do it. I will give you credit for hollandaise if you do that. But then I see people do saute pans for their protein and their vegetable. And so they'll get like a 30 out of 100. Okay. I don't want to do that. I want to give you 100 or close to it as much as I can if we're still learning and growing. All right. So please, Thursday night, we're all putting on our detective hats, right? Our Escoffier detective hats, my lovely blue one, right? All right. And you're going to go find a grill in some capacity. If you already have one, awesome. If you don't, I just gave you multiple ways to go get one. So everyone put your hands underneath your legs. Those are your options this week. That is how you get a grill. There is no chef, I can't, no, chef, I don't, chef, what if? You're going and getting a grill. Any questions about the grill, everyone? Awesome. Oh, James. James, did you have a?
No, I said no, chef.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't know if you did. Sweet. All right.
Hey,
Love that.
Chef, Nick,
Yes.
the Cracker Barrel also sell grill pans as well.
Perfect. If you have a Cracker Barrel near you, right? I look for that's a great piece of information, by the way, in case you do have one. I don't have one near me. There's like one like 40
Yeah,
minutes from me. But
I got
if
one
you look
real close
close,
to me. Thanks.
what's
Thanks for
that,
the tip.
Joshua?
I said I got Cracker Barrel real close to me. Thanks for the tip.
There you go. Love that, Larry. Great job. Awesome. So there you go, guys. But even if you don't, like a Target should have one. Walmart, if you like go to the kitchen section, they should have that generally there. So just keep that in mind. All right. But yeah, go or look up your park, like I said. So what was that, James? Was that James?
Swap meet has them.
Swap meets? Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. Ooh, it's getting dark and stormy outside. House just shook. All right. So those are your options, everyone. So hurrah, we're grilling this week. Great job, everyone. Let's talk about protein. Let's talk about vegetables. I'm giving everyone options, right? So don't say Chef Angela and Chef Nick did not give you options because we gave you all the different ways to get grills, and we're going to talk about protein, okay? So let me go ahead and share my screen again. I'm going to show you the real quick the recipe because it's oil, salt, and pepper. But just so you all can see it and you can look at this on your own. Whoops, do that. Right? So your protein, salt, pepper, oil as needed. That's it. Okay. So I'm really not going to show that too much. Okay. So what I like to do is you can lightly brush your protein. And I say brush because I don't want you to like douse it. You could lightly brush it in oil. Canola vegetable oil is fine, right? Just a light brush on both sides, right? Pinch of kosher salt, freshly ground black pepper, flip, kosher salt, freshly ground black pepper. Evenly distributed salt and pepper. Okay, kosher salt and pepper on both sides. All right, that's what we're going to do. Your options this week: boneless, always boneless. I have grilled many a time a bone-in protein. We are not doing that this week. You must choose a boneless item. Chicken, skin off, boneless chicken breast, tender removed, trimmed, not too thick. So remember with poaching, we talked about if you have a chicken breast that has like a large lobe at one end and then it tapers off, cut it in half. All right. Boneless, skinless chicken breast. Boneless, trimmed pork chop. Boneless sirloin steak. If you want to treat yourself, you could go New York. You could even go ribeye, but trim a little bit of that fat off of the ribeye too. I love a ribeye, love a good fat cap. Just trim it off a little bit. Or skinless salmon. You're looking for about 6 to 8 ounces max. Nothing, again, nothing too thick, nothing too big, nice and even with the width of the actual meat itself. Does that make sense, everyone? Boneless, skinless chicken breast, boneless pork chop, boneless steak. If I see a bone, a T-bone, or a bone-in pork chop, I'm going to take points off of your mise en place. If I see skin on your salmon, I'm going to take it off. Skin on salmon can be rendered and crisped up in a saute pan more often than it will be on the grill. I guarantee you might get some charring, but most likely that skin is going to be chewy. So remove it. Oil, salt, pepper. If you add too much oil, and especially if you're on a gas grill, if you go on there and oil starts falling into the fire, it's going to flame up and you're going to get this blackened where it's not grilled. It's just like looks like smudge on your protein and it's going to taste like a grease fire. We don't want that. So lightly brush, salt and pepper. Now, lines on a grill usually go up and down and left and right. You are going to put your protein on at an angle. What is this, chef? A 45, right? We're going right here. Make sense? If the screen is my grill, boom, I'm going in at an angle. Let me go ahead and remove my background here just to really run that home. Okay, boom, like that. High heat, low fat. Just like we were sauteing, we were talking about that earlier, right? Chef Andrew said, high heat, we should hear the sizzle. You should see smoke coming off of there. Light smoke, not heavy smoke. You are going to let that sit there probably at least a minute and a half, 2 minutes, maybe even 3. You could use tongs. You can, after a few minutes, lift it up, make sure you got those lines going, and then you're going to rotate it that way. So you're starting at 11 and 5, 2 to 3 minutes. Then you're going to go to, what is this, 1, 2, and 7. We have not flipped it over yet, okay? If you're doing salmon, be very careful that you don't break it up. You can use a fish spatula if you need to. Make sure you have high heat. If your heat is not high enough, your protein will stick to the pan. I promise you that. Okay, high heat, a little bit of fat. You could even take a rag, put some oil on it, and then wipe down the actual grill, as well as having a little touch of oil on your protein and your salt and pepper. That way you're not sticking. All right. So, boom, 90-minute or 90 or 45-degree angle, right, Chef? 2 to 3 minutes. Rotate it 90 degrees at a 45-degree angle for 2 to 3 minutes. Then, once you have those grill marks, you're going to flip it over. Now, those grill marks have a name. It is called quadrillage. I want everyone to unmute themselves and say quadrillage.
Quadriage.
Claudia.
Quadriage.
Quadrillage. Great job, everyone. Quadrillage, other known as grill marks. All right. The hashtag, if you will, in 2025. It should look like a hashtag is all over your protein, but nice and evenly. If you start picking up your protein, you're moving it around, you check it, you move it to another spot, you're going to get the 4-way hashtag, right? With multiple stripes going one way, multiple stripes going another way. It's going to look weird. I want a nice, just one set of lines going at an angle, 2 to 3 minutes, rotate, one set of lines going the other way, flip over, same thing. The other side, the bottom, is not going to be your production side, your presentation side, but you can still keep the grill marks on there. Now, earlier we talked about the heat, right? Well, high heat, we want the quadrillage. Once we've flipped it, if you want to turn down your heat to let your grill act as an oven to finish cooking, that's absolutely fine, right? Because I'm not worried about the bottom as much as I am the top. All right. So, chicken. What's the internal temperature for our chicken?
165.
165
165.
165. And am I poking it on the top? I'm going to poke.
On the
on the
side.
side.
On the side.
And am I temping on the grill?
No, after you take it
No.
off.
I'm okay with you lifting it on the side or off to a plate on the side. Chicken 165. Pork. Who can remember pork?
145.
145, Larry. Thank you. 145. Salmon. Larry just said it.
145.
145.
Steak. This week, everyone, it's personal preference.
Where's 168?
135 is going to be about your rare. 145 is going to be about medium rare. 155 about medium. 165 medium well. 175 well done. Even with medium well and well done, because I know, right, there's a stigma on steak and everything like that. You can still keep it tender if you don't cook it so high of a heat. So get the grill marks, turn it over, turn it down if you want that more medium well done. That's fine too. If I see anything that's like 190 or above, that's
Yes,
when it gets to be a hockey puck. Okay. I try not to judge people based on their steak preference. If you like it rare, you like it black and blue, you like it medium well done. Hey, you're paying your own money. I don't care. Okay. Anything past 190, probably just going to start to dry out on you. But you can serve a medium well done steak that's not tough. So just keep that in mind. Don't go too high of a heat once you've flipped it over. 145 to me is a good like medium rarish, nice and pink in the center. That's how I like my steak. So if you want to cook for Chef Nick, even though I'm not eating it, make sure mine's nice and pink in the middle. And just so you all know, for all you steak lovers out there is no blood in a steak, because I get that every term when I talk about cooking steak and we do our fingers and all that, right? There's no blood in a steak, guys. All right. So the people go, I don't like the blood on my steak. I don't like that. That's not blood. That's called myoglobin, right? It's just like the juice that is still in there being released from it after you've cooked it, right? So that is not blood, just so you all know. All right. So, choice of vegetable. Okay. You can use asparagus. You cut off the woody ends. If it's this long, you cut off a chunk like this, only keep the green. You can use zucchini, you can use yellow squash, or you can use eggplant, all cut into either rounds, big rounds. If you get a thin zucchini, cut it at an angle so it's a nice oval round. Makes sense? So it looks like this. What does this look like? All right, very important, everyone. I'm going to start getting into the nitty gritty of the vegetables. Okay, so your protein must look like this. This is quadrillage, everyone. If you put on a plate a piece of protein that does not look like this, little diamonds. Here's chicken breast. Chicken breast again, right? This one's not perfect, but you could see that there's grill marks, there's charring, there's a couple of different lines on there, right? Chicken again, quadrillage. Pork chop, quadrillage, no bone. Salmon, quadrillage. That is what your protein must look like, regardless of what you choose. If it does not look like this, you will lose points. You're going to let it go on a hot grill. You're going grill marks one way. You're going to rotate the other way. You're going to flip over once you've achieved this. All right. Practice, practice, practice. Now, your vegetables. Asparagus, you cannot get quadrillage. They're too thin. But if you do choose to do asparagus, which is fine, and I love grilled asparagus, but it would not be my vegetable of choice this week, because this is about as good as it gets for your asparagus. Little marks, right? Little marks. But as you can see, it's trimmed there. Oil, salt, pepper. You just go onto your grill, you get some grill marks. I like the zucchini and the squash or the eggplant because you could, again, work on your quadrillage. So it looks something like that, right? You got grill marks going one way, you got grill marks going the other way. Look at those diamonds, right? Think of diamonds. They're a grill's best friend, all right? Let's talk about our photo requirements real quick, and then we'll try and get some questions in if we have it. All right, 7 photos for hollandaise, self-ID, mise en place with your double boiler. So that's a big one. Includes your double boiler setup. So where was it? This should be in with your photo with your 3 egg yolks, your lemon juice, your cayenne pepper, your salt, your sanitation. That is all one photo. Not 2 photos, 1 photo. Clarified butter doing the process. So whether it's skimming and you can see the clarified butter underneath. If it's the finished clarified butter, I'm okay with that too in the pot. All right. Yolks and water in your bowl. So that's before you've done anything. You could whisk it, I guess, to incorporate it. Or if I just see the yolks with the water, with the lemon juice, I'm okay as well. As long as it is not the ribbon stage, because the next photo is your ribbon stage. Should look something like this. That's literally what I want to see in that photo. Hollandaise after adding half the fat. So honestly, it's going to look very similar to this. And then your finished hollandaise showing the proper consistency should look something like that. All right. Back of the spoon, run your finger down the middle. Honestly, if you show me something that looks like this, I'll be happy too. I don't care. But if you want to do the back of the spoon, finger run down the middle, you absolutely can. Properly portioned and seasoned protein. So I talked to you about salt, kosher salt, and fresh ground black pepper before we've done anything to it. All right, should still be raw. Protein on the grill or in the grill pan. Protein with thermometer showing proper doneness. I must see the protein as well as your temperature in Fahrenheit with the probe going into the side. Don't show me just a thermometer with nothing else. I'm going to say no. All right. Finished protein plated for presentation. So you can have it, like this. That's completely fine, right? Something like that doesn't matter to me. That's that's photo number 4. Properly prepared and seasoned vegetable. So again, in its raw state, you haven't cooked it yet. It's got oil, salt, pepper on it, and you're good to go. Vegetables on the pan or on the grill. Vegetables plated for presentation. So it could definitely look like that, or like that. I want 7 plus 4 is 11 plus 3, 14 photos this week. 14 photos, everyone. I do not want 13. I do not want 12. I don't want you to combine all of your plating. If you want to show me a 15th photo that has asparagus or your zucchini or whatever, your protein with a drizzle of your hollandaise and some fresh parsley, that's an option at photo 15. I don't want 13 photos. And you go, oh, chef, why just combine the, no. Okay. That's all the information there. I think I touched on everything. Any questions about the hollandaise, about the protein, about the vegetable? Carlos, go ahead.
If we use the zucchini, do we have to cut it long ways, or is that just up to us?
Yes, you will. Cut it long ways so you could get the grill marks on it.
Okay, thank you.
You can do a bias cut. I think that way it gives you more surface area. Cool. Chef Angela, anything you want to add in our final few minutes?
I don't think so. Just make sure you have all of the required photos, like Chef said. Try to stay current. Now is a great time to look at discussion forums and quizzes and plan ahead. Can't stress it enough. These last few weeks are going to fly by. So plan ahead.
All right. I believe in everyone. Go make sure you secure your grill, get going on your hollandaise, get going on your grilling, shoot for an early submission, and we will see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.